Hey, all. We're the Dirty Rain Revelers right here in New Orleans, Louisiana.
You're listening to Rock Paper Podcast.
Dig it.
Rock Paper Podcast.
Scissors beat paper, paper covers rock. Rock beats scissors, Shane covers non-stop. Never know what new kind of guest that he's got coming at you. Live and direct on the spot. Could be rock, folk, country, or hip-hop, jazz. All kind of folks that he has. Could be an artist or a comedian to make you laugh on the
Rock Paper Podcast.
double-decker fudge round, rolling round town. Shane coming at you live and direct from ground zero. He's your hero, he's your bestie. Rock Paper Podcast with Shane Presley.
Rock Paper Podcast.
Hey everybody, Shane Presley here, Rock Paper Podcast, coming to you from St. Louis, Missouri. Hanging out today with the Dirty Rain Revelers, right?
What's up, y'all?
Hey, you both want to introduce yourselves properly for everybody?
Melissa DeOrazio here.
And Matt DeOrazio.
Yeah, this is a
LD, as some people call me.
yeah. I'm excited to be hanging here with you two today. This is our first time meeting and stuff. We were, I think, what we believe was you were supposed to be coming to town.
Yeah, we were actually going to do this podcast with you Tuesday, and
Right.
we were going to be in St. Louis and in and around that area doing some shows. And we had a whole Midwest tour booked. We were super excited, and as things progressed with the pandemic, we had to rethink our program and then just kind of completely clear the books.
Right. I think everything was put on hold for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Everybody. So definitely a weird time, but I'm glad to see you are all still healthy and stuff. And during this time and everything else, we're all still here. And
Good.
yeah, right. But we that's kind of what's fun about this technology. We're able to make this work. I guess you guys are at home in Texas or something, right?
New Orleans.
New Orleans. Oh, what was I thinking? Texas. I don't know.
I'm originally from Texas.
Oh, okay.
And
Yeah.
we do spend a fair amount of time there and New Mexico, but New Orleans is home base.
Yeah. Well, very nice.
Mhm.
I got to get down there. Like I work at a New Orleans themed bar here in St. Louis, Broadway Oyster Bar, and it's it's my own little slice of heaven. I feel like when I go there, like the music. I mean, we got a lot of the New Orleans Suspects and John Papa Groves, and like a lot of like New Orleans legends come up and play and yearly and stuff. And so we definitely have that kind of vibe going on down there with the funk and blues and some jazzy kind of stuff, some reggae, so, just a little bit of everything kind of comes through there. But so I love the music, I love the food and the atmosphere, and I think those guys like coming up and playing here because it's usually in the summertime there's about 100% humidity, so it makes them feel like home and everything. And so, yeah. So, but anyway, I've never been actually to New Orleans. I've been, like I said, that's as close as I've got. And so I was like, well, if I like this as much as I do, I'm sure I would love the city as well. So
Absolutely. You would feel right at home, and you'd probably be blown away about how at home you are. If you're kind of that tuned in or attuned to sort of New Orleans culture,
right.
just what you're exposed to at the restaurant, when you come here, you're not going to want to go home.
Yeah.
You may find you are home when you get here.
We did a little vacation this year. Went to we actually just got back the other day and went to South Carolina. It was our little getaway this year and stuff, to something a little different. We never been up the East Coast at all. I've gone to Florida a couple of times and stuff, and but never went that far east. And so anyway, I guess next year we'll have to go hit the middle, get right around New Orleans instead. No.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
April and October are really nice times, and I'm sure that like French Quarter Fest and Jazz Fest next year are going to be
oh yeah,
extra
explosive.
extra
for sure.
explosive in its way because both were canceled this year, and
Right.
I think people would be like, okay, if they haven't been to New Orleans yet, like they're coming.
Yeah. So I guess during this time, you guys been having a lot more time to write then, since you're not on the road and all that stuff, or
Yes, indeed.
Yeah, when we're on the road, we kind of, we tend to generate a lot of ideas while on the road, particularly in between gigs or whatever downtime we have. We kind of, draw on the inspiration of the road to kind of formulate ideas. And then once we get home, and we came home from a month long, we did our first annual Escape Mardi Gras tour this year.
Which actually was like a blessing in disguise.
Yeah, I've been wanting to do that for years, because playing gigs during Mardi Gras is really, challenging in a lot of ways that I'm getting too old to want to deal with those challenges. So Melissa was able to book a whole month where we left like a week before Mardi Gras, and we were on the road out through the West. So we were coming back from that actually right when the city had to become locked down. So it's kind of like, feel like we've been gone for a month extra because we were on the road for a month. And as soon as we get home, we're locked in the house. So it's as if we're still kind of on the road in a way, because now the road is just between our walls,
right?
But that now we can take all of those ideas that we've been formulating and toying with, and we have so much more time than we normally would have to really flesh these things out and start recording them and re-record them, and just go through the whole process without interruption.
Right. Lot less distractions, because usually when we're home, he's got a couple other bands he plays with around town, and so there's always gigs to go to. Or
between our gigs and the other gigs I do with the other bands, it's like,
we end up not having that much downtime when we're off the road. But we've been able to utilize this time and really focus on recording, writing, just kind of watering all the gardens, as it were.
Yeah. Well, very nice. I guess let's go back a bit though, since this is our first time hanging out. I'd like to get to know a little bit more of the backstory for you two, and but I guess as far as this project, did it come out of your relationship? You guys, or how did
well, we played music together first,
right?
It was a relationship.
Yeah, just in a different way. Like, we met in October of 2005. After Katrina, I went out to Austin and to play some gigs out there. And Melissa was the organizer and one of the other musicians on one of these gigs, or all the gigs. Actually.
Yeah, I was doing a lot. I was very active in the Austin music community and doing all kinds of writers' nights and gigs, and just kind of generally trying to create community and be around lots of songwriters and just kind of really absorb. So through an organization called Go Girls Music, I think it was, I met the band that he was playing in at the time via email, and they were going to be coming through, and so I booked them on several events I had going on, and their first night in town, we were, I was on that gig too, and that's
when we met.
Yeah, he saw me playing. He was like, "You need a band," because I was just solo acoustic, and so he ended up moving to Austin that December, and we started a band together right away. But he was on drums, sort of like a power pop trio, and so that was really fun. And we did that, and we ended up recording and doing some touring.
And just as bandmates, though, it wasn't.
Yeah, we were like strictly bandmates. I kind of had
some friends.
I had agendas and dreams that didn't include like I was gonna go to California and I was gonna like work with my friend who had a label and just kind of follow that path. And it got to be like spring 2007, and he was going to be moving back to New Orleans. I was going to be moving out to California and
LA specifically.
And we had recorded this record, which is now just a digital thing on our website. We didn't really do anything with it, just because our whole life shifted like about that time. And but we were called Melissa on the Rocks at that time. So before we kind of went our separate ways, he kind of gave me the what for and told me how he really felt. Yeah. And I entertained that to some degree and was like, well, just come see me in California, like we'll talk, we'll like, let's keep talking. And so he came out to California. We had talked that whole summer of 2007, basically by phone.
Flip phone too.
Which was more time on the phone than I'd probably ever spent in my whole life at that point. And
yeah, same for me.
It's like I don't talk to anybody this long ever. But so he came to California, and I was working at a kids music camp at the time, day jams, and got him on as a counselor in the program as well. And that was
awesome.
Fun. Really great kids and just a fun experience. And so he was out there about a week and he proposed, and we briefly discussed having like a wedding with family and stuff. And then we quickly decided that we'll just elope on the beach and call it a day. So that's what we did. And now August will be our 13th anniversary, and almost 15 years playing music together.
Nice.
Yeah, so that the musical aspect has evolved over time as we've kind of, left behind the Melissa on the Rocks ideas, and that evolved into me kind of taking a break from music once we kind of got settled in New Orleans, because he kind of gave me the idea, okay, well, we've gotten married, we'll live in New Orleans, give it 6 months. If after 6 months you don't like it and you're not totally sold, then we'll go anywhere you want. Because I was sort of done with Austin at that point. I had kind of had my fill. I went to high school there, and I was just ready to be somewhere else, and Austin was getting more expensive. And so it was a good time for me to be somewhere else. And of course, New Orleans being such a magical place and so much inspiration just coming out of the earth, I just felt right at home. And we've been at the same address pretty much the whole time, which is, I've never lived anywhere this long in my life.
Nice. Yeah, I don't know. I'd love to do something more like that, get out there and just see some different things. I mean, I could, but I haven't. But I just I live now in the same address for the last 15 years or more probably. Mm-hmm. And then I live a mile and a half or 2 miles from the house I grew up in. So I live I haven't ventured out very far from in 35 years. So yeah, it's but I'd love to get around and see some more of the world, getting to do some more of that, just traveling. My wife pulled up a thing on Facebook the other day. There was somebody turned an old school bus into one of those tiny homes or whatever. They finished it all out with a bed and kitchen and washer, dryer, everything, and I was just man, that would be fun to have something like that and just hit the open road and getting to see everything. And
that's on our list. We're hoping by the end of this year that we can get a van to build out. We've been, looking at lots of videos and researching and making lists, and
it would make the road life a lot more doable and just more efficient, really, because we tour now in a sedan, so we can't really sleep in it, or even eating in it on the road is challenging.
Right.
So having basically a mobile home, a little home on wheels to get us around. Basically where you could kind of take care of all your essential human needs, sleeping, eating, and whatever in the van. Then you wouldn't have to. Because we end up staying, with family or friends, which is great. But sometimes in imposition, we feel you just don't want to always be imposing on people, and then we have to. Otherwise, if we don't know anybody, then we'll stay at Airbnb and whatnot, which has gotten a lot more expensive over time as well.
And now with pandemic life, however long that goes on, we're not really so comfortable to stay in an Airbnb.
Yeah, it would be a bit better if we can just sleep in our own funky vibe versus someone.
Yeah, you just don't know how this will unfold, and so it's made it more we've turned up the speed on that wheel to make that happen a little sooner.
Yeah. There's a couple other things you said there in that story too that kind of resonated with me, and I feel like we all have a lot in common because you said you're talking about working at that music camp. Well, I didn't necessarily work music, but I've worked at the YMCA for 8 years, working with the kids, and I did refereeing sports and stuff. So I was very heavily involved with with the kids, just had a lot of fun, just being a part of that and stuff. And so it was very, very challenging at times, but very rewarding in the same sense. I mean, I was teaching kindergartners and t-ball and stuff and but when they come and tell you that they that they love you or whatever, or something, whatever they say, something let you know that you're making an impact here, those kind of moments are
it's incredibly rewarding.
Yeah.
Right. So, or even just a high five or whatever, just but
that you've impacted them and they feel good, and their life has been changed by this, exchange.
Right.
What I found interesting working with the kids is, the groups that I worked with at the music camp were 10 to 17 years old.
Yeah.
So, and they would put them in a band together, age range from 10 to 17 years old. So that's a pretty wide, gap between 10 and 12-year-olds, 12 and 14-year-olds, and 15 and 17-year-olds. I kind of, emotionally break them up into three different camps in a way. But you've got them all together. And so you kind of what I found really, really cool is at first they're new to each other. And then they're new to me. And, and so there's that, you can see the, on a lot of their faces, and their vibe is kind of a little bit guarded and a little bit shy. And they're oh, I'm not sure what to do. And maybe some don't play as well as some of the others, so they're more shy. And just over the process of having that same group for a week, there's this whole process that you go through, and so you have them for a week. And then over the hours of the different days, you start to just watching each one in their own time kind of open up. You see you almost I could see the sparks over their head when they kind of would click and feel this is awesome. They forget that they're supposed to feel awkward and shy. You kind of see that moment happen, and then they just kind of bloom in a way. And by the end of the week, and they're performing their song that they wrote together and the band that they named together, wearing the t-shirts they made, the whole thing. And they're just whoa, it's really, to do that a few weeks in a row, it's just wow, it was really incredibly rewarding and just so much fun.
Yeah.
to interact and see that transformation.
Definitely.
You wonder, like, how long will that resonate in their sort of personal experience? Like, where will they bring that feeling? What next experience is that going to transfer to for them? Are they going to walk into another awkward situation and feel a little bit less awkward because they, rocked it so hard in the last experience? You know what I mean? Just like, because all of those little things that kind of give us that sense of self and belonging in our own skin. Each time that happens for us as people, I feel like it gives us a little bit more ammunition or armor for the next situation, where, like, you can step into the next potentially really awkward situation and feel like, I'm cool, I'm all right, and start out not quite as awkward, at least. So.
That's really exciting stuff. Like, and just again, like you're saying, kind of like that ripple effect. How you can and make that impact, and then what that's going to do for them, in the future and stuff, as far as they want to pursue this music and things, and what it could all start with that one camp or something. So
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. But yeah, and then another thing you were saying, well, Melissa was saying about the songwriter stuff, and I'm very involved in our St. Louis community doing a lot of that. I do we have a mutual friend, Brian, over at Naked Vine, where I think where you guys were supposed to be coming through and playing. We teamed up a while back, and he gave me Tuesday nights once a month to do a showcase over there, and been bringing in 3 different writers every month, and just 3 writers sitting on stools with a guitar or piano and playing, and it's a ton of fun. But that's right where my heart's at with I love this songwriting and storytelling and stuff. So, but I have a lot of fun just kind of mix and matching all these different people, putting them to see who works together well. And like sometimes you put friends together, sometimes I put 3 strangers together just to see what happens. See what kind of something cool. Maybe and then like some of them may realize they have more in common than they knew about, and then they like collaborate later. And then I'm like, that's the goal right there. If I can, introduce you to somebody and make something else happen, that's really awesome.
Yeah, so, we've had a fair amount of experiences like that with other like songwriter kind of nights.
Yeah.
Like a lot, like the Foundation Room thing.
Yeah.
Where we're like, we did, what's really cool for my own experience when we do that is because I like to play a lot. And I like to play with everybody, It's like, so when we're on a thing with like that in that situation, like usually like I'll just chime in on other people's songs, kind of add what I add. And it's always interesting to me to see how that flows or how it doesn't flow, and but usually it's like, it just adds a whole new dimension to what's going on, and then they'll chime in on our songs, and add a completely different sort of layer to, and it kind of, it's really inspiring for everybody, because you end up, someone else is what they add is going to be something that you hadn't thought of really, and are not doing in that song. And it's like, well, even like on like,
just kind of opens it all up.
Like Evangeline. This one song I've had for years, and we're doing, some years ago, we were playing a festival, the Taos Brewing.
Oh, Taos Mesa Brewing? Yeah,
we're playing Taos, New Mexico, and we used, we hired a local drummer and bass player out there to work with us around that region. And the drummer is also a really good singer. And so he just started adding background vocals to some of these songs. And like one of them, now she does that background vocal when we do that song. And it was never there before, and it never even occurred to me. Something as simple as that can really actually add a level, or just adds a little bit more spice, to the gumbo, to kind of like make it, just a little snap a little bit more. And so
that's definitely
always an interesting experience.
Yeah. Well, that you said Evangeline, that appears on your 2018 album Spark, right? It was a recording
Yeah.
on there.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So
Yeah, that's actually on 2 records. So prior to being called the Dirty Rain Revelers, we were called Sweet Jones.
Well, and then you also had El DeOrazio.
But I think
Evangeline. It's on El DeOrazio record.
Oh, okay. So, and also before Sweet Jones, this is before we got married, I had my own band called El DeOrazio, like E.L. DeOrazio, which is why people call me LD. And I only did 1 record with that band, really. It was an EP. And this song is on, so it's on that. And then we kind of we revamped it for duo gigs, because that's mostly what we do now, is just a duo. And we recorded that on the Spark record as well.
yeah. Well, that I listened on Spotify. I listened to the Spark album this today, just getting ready, doing dishes this morning and everything, kind of getting ready to go for the interview, and really liked it. It was a lot of fun to listen to. Your electric guitar tones and stuff that they're playing on there sounds awesome. I really love the sounds of that. So
Thank you.
yeah, there's some really interesting things in there. So but you guys wanted to play a particular song called, was track 1 called "Who Will Be Your Spark."
Mm-hmm.
And is there anything you want to add around this particular song?
This is the second version of the song. It shows up on our Sweet Jones Home Volume 1 album in sort of a different way. And something that happens with our songs as we play them longer and longer, they sort of evolve and they change, and we rewrite them, or we just kind of rearrange them and find just different ways to do that, just because it's fun. And we're, depending on your mood, you might not be in that mood, but yeah, it seemed like a good title for the album. And
well, the title for the record, you'll notice on the cover, it's like a lightning strike.
Right.
That's a photo. We were at our friends outside of Monroe, Louisiana, and so there was a lightning storm, probably about 5 or 6 miles away, and it was night. So I did a bunch of slow motion videos. So the cover is actually a still from that video of a lightning strike.
Nice.
And then we thought, spark, it's big. It's a big spark.
Yeah, right.
yeah.
Yeah, very cool.
So,
yeah, this I was so you were saying there used to be Sweet Jones, and then you changed it, and I was so I didn't know. I actually had to look it up. I didn't know what exactly the definition of reveler, and then I read the definition as a person who is enjoying themselves in a lively and noisy way. And I'm like, well, that's about the best band name I could think of right there. That's perfect. So,
and we're on the Dirty Coast where it rains a lot.
Right.
We're not shy about reveling in the streets.
Yeah. But I was like, man, that's perfect definition of a band and playing music and everything else. So, so I think you guys did good. I mean, like, not that Sweet Jones was bad, but I think this definitely fits everything that you guys are doing now.
Thanks.
We came up with Sweet Jones before Google and before we really even had a sound.
Yeah, this was like right after we got married, really. And like Melissa said, she'd kind of taken a break from playing, and I still had my band, and I was doing all my hired gun gigs. And then after some time, some months passed, really, she was kind of itching to play. So I would bring her out as my rhythm guitar player in my band, because she had never done any hired gun type work. She had always been like the singer-songwriter type, and so I thought, well, what better way to get experience, just kind of like add to your toolbox than to be a sideman. That's the best experience ever. And so she jumped into that, and then she kind of we got to a point where we're like, why don't we just do a band for real, put a band together from the ground up, instead of just doing 2 separate things. And like, yeah, that's a great idea. And so then, before we even worked on any music. We came up with the name Sweet Jones after dinner one night. We were chilling out, reading, and I was like, "Baby, I got such a Sweet Jones." She's like, "Yeah, me too." And then we were like, oh, "That'll be the name of our band, the Sweet Jones," you know. And so that's what it was, and it was fine. It was fun. It was a good name, and but over time, we had made like 1 or 2 records with that, and it got to a point where it felt like you said, it didn't feel like it really evoked the sort of imagery of what we do, or what we had developed over, probably 8 years of being Sweet Jones. Kind of got us to a point where we're at now, really. So our sound and everything had kind of really evolved, and it just didn't fit right,
And also there was just like, as far as search engine optimization, just was not happening, because there's apparently other Sweet Joneses out there, or things that sound kind of like Sweet Jones. And
right.
So yeah, we're like, okay, we're not, we didn't really feel like, oh, but we've, worked so hard on this. But we were just like, no, just like start over, new name, new thing. And we did the Spark album just as a duo, recording here at home, because we do so many gigs that are duo gigs, and we wanted something that was like kind of representative of just what we do.
Yeah, live. And that's how we recorded it too. We set up the studio, basically as if we were doing a gig, PA and everything. And then, I mic'd everything, had separate miking for recording, and just kind of played the songs through like that, as if we were on a gig. So we really wanted it to be like that, so when we book a tour and someone goes and listens to that, that's like, okay, this is what they do.
Right.
That's exactly what you're going to get, is what's on the record, basically. Yeah, we didn't fix anything. It's just very raw representative of like a gig.
Yeah, I dig it. I mean, it's the whole record's like pretty mellow for the most part. That there's there's a lot of kind of just kind of slower down kind of tunes, and just really kind of mellow music, and it felt good. And especially like I enjoyed too, like you had St. James Infirmary blues on there, which it's been done a bunch, but it's just always fun to hear what everybody brings to it, their own take on it and stuff. So it's kind of it's always a fun cover to hear in there and stuff. So.
Time it takes for the heart to break, for the loneliness to dissipate, for the weariness to finally shake from your bones. 40 days and nights go by without a word since the word goodbye, and I don't sleep so good when I'm alone. In the middle of the night, when you're lonely and it's dark, who will be the one to hold you tight? Who will be your spark? As it turns out, we're all playing parts, actors in a play, but using real hearts. Sometimes the remarks leave little scars. We thought we were stars, but the brighter lights can be so harsh. Who will be your comfort in the middle of the night when you're lonely and it's dark? Who will be the one to hold you tight? Who will be your spark? Who will be your spark? Who will be your spark? Who will be your spark?
But great record. And you can find Spark wherever you're getting your digital music, or the dirtyrainrevelers.com, and follow along on Facebook and Instagram and YouTube page for some more music and everything else. But with all that, though, I want to say, you guys, since all this is going on, since you can't be on the road and playing live, you guys have been doing these like live concerts at your house from the front porch.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're doing every Saturday at noon, you said?
Yep.
From Facebook Live. So if you're itching for some live music and you can't get out, there you go. You can watch it right from your phone or computer or whatever. And
break of noon, shadows even, the silver spoon, the handmade blade, the child's balloon, eclipses both, the sun and the moon. To understand, you know too soon, there is no sense in trying. Pointed threats, they bluff with scorn. Suicide, remarks are torn from the fool's gold mouthpiece. The hollow horn plays wasted words, proves to warn that he not busy being born is busy dying. Temptation's page flies out the door. You follow, find yourself at war. Watch waterfalls of pity roar. You feel to moan, but unlike before, you discover that you just be one more person crying. So don't fear if you hear a foreign sound to your ear. It's alright, Mom, I'm only sighing. some downfall. Private reasons, great or small, can be seen in the eyes of those that call to make all that should be killed to crawl, while others say don't hate nothing at all except hatred. Disillusioned words like bullets bark as human gods aim for their mark, made everything from toy guns that spark to flesh-colored Christs that glow in the dark. It's easy to see without looking too far that not much is really sacred. While preachers preach of evil fates, teachers teach that knowledge waits can lead to $100 plates. Goodness hides behind its gates, but even the President of the United States sometimes must have to stand naked. And though the rules of the road have been lodged, it's only people's games that you gotta dodge. And it's alright, Ma, I can make it. Signs that con you into thinking that you're the one that can do what's never ever been done, can win what's never ever been won. Meantime, life outside goes on all around you. You lose yourself, you reappear. You suddenly find you got nothing to fear. Alone you stand with nobody near, when a trembling distant voice, unclear, starts sleeping your ears to hear. Somebody thinks they really found you. A question in your nerves is lit, yet you know there is no answer to fit, to satisfy, ensure you not to quit, to keep it in your mind and not forget that it is not he or she or them or it that you belong to. And although the masters make the rules, for the wise men and the fools, I got nothing, Mom, to live up to. Must obey authority that they do not respect in any degree, who despises their jobs, their destiny, speak jealously of them that are free, do what they do just to be nothing more than something they invest in. While some on principles baptized to strict party platform ties, social clubs in drag disguise, outsider theys, conveyors criticize, tell nothing except who to idolize, and then say, God bless him. While one who sings with his tongue on fire gargles in the rat race choir, bent out of shape from society's pliers, cares not to come up any higher, but rather get you down in the hole that he's in. And I mean no harm, nor put vault to anyone who lives in a vault. But it's alright, Ma, if I can't please him. dare to push fake morals, insult and stare. While money doesn't talk, it swears. Obscenity, who really cares? Propaganda, all is phony. Well then they defend what they cannot see with a killer's pride, security. It blows the minds most bitterly. For them that think death's honesty won't fall upon them so naturally. Life sometimes must get lonely. My eyes collide head-on with stuffed graveyards, false gods I scuff. My pettiness, which plays so rough, walk upside down inside handcuffs, kick my legs to crash it off. Say okay, I've had enough. What else can you show me? And if my thought dreams could be seen, they'd probably put my head in a guillotine. But it's alright, Mom, it's life and life only. And if my thought dreams could be seen, they'd probably put my head in a guillotine. But it's alright, it's life and life only. Thank you so much, y'all. We are the Dirty Rain Revelers. Do what you can with what you got, even if it's not a lot. A lot can be done.
But I'm guessing you guys are having a good time with those.
It's been really fun. You know, we kind of dress up the porch different every week and kind of pick different songs and different covers every week. That's how that Bob Dylan tune came about. Is we just were like, I've wanted to do that song for a long time, but never really knew how we could do it. And it just seemed like the right moment to bring that out. And then he does a lot with looping pedal and just really cool building layers. And so we thought like, oh, like spoken word over the loop. And so that was really fun. So we're starting to bring that element in a little bit more. And I think the next record will definitely be more upbeat, and we're going to record it with bass and drums, which we just kind of do everything in-house. And it's fun.
Yeah,
for sure.
we've got so far for the next record, we've got 10 songs, final track, the bass and the drums final track.
Yeah.
And the bass on most of it, and kind of building it as if we were doing it with a full band. But I play drums and we both play bass in addition to the other stuff. So we're trying to, this next record, we want it to be really like, so Spark was, the raw, this is what you're going to get live kind of thing as a duo. This next one is going to be really about how we envision each song to sound and feel, regardless of with no constraints on like, well, but it should sound like this, or,
Right. Just kind of serving the song.
Serving the song and the recording overall, because it's really, I think we tend to, a lot of us, when we go to record it, it's like a lot of musicians don't realize you don't have to do what you do live. You don't have to do what you always do on that material. You can do whatever you want. Think of it, approach it as, a painting. The painter's not going to go paint the same thing he just painted last year or last month. He's going to paint a new painting. Right. Maybe do the same palette, but it's going to be a different painting. So the beauty of recording is you can do whatever you want and, not worry about it representing anything specifically as far as what you do live,
Sure. I mean, I like when, I guess it goes both ways with whatever, depending on the band and stuff, but sometimes do you want that? Do you want it where it sounds like the album sounds like the live show and stuff?
Right.
You definitely sometimes want that. But then there's also the cases like, that's what made Grateful Dead and, Dave Matthews and all these guys like so popular was like their live show. They just jammed a lot and it never sounded like the live record or their album recordings. It always, you go to the show because it was something different every time and things like that. And so there's a lot of bands like that too, that, they do a lot more live that is not on the record. So it's, I guess it goes both ways. It depends on what's the right fit for your band and stuff. But
one ultimately is going to influence the other.
Right.
Either the recording how you record it is going to influence how you do it live, or vice versa. You can never completely separate them in a sense.
Yeah.
There's always going to be elements of one in the other.
Sure.
Which is also interesting too. Like I will try, and I'll screw myself up on gigs at times too, because I'll get to a section of a song where I know we're coming up on it, and I'll think, man, I always do that. I don't fucking want to do that, man. I'm tired of hearing myself do that. And so then I'm like, what else am I going to do? And I'm like, I could do. And at this point, I've already messed up the section, because once you're thinking that much about it, it's too late. So I feel like approaching recording with that idea of like, I don't want to hear what I always do. I want to be interested and engaged in it. It's almost like exercising that muscle in a sense. So when you are live, it's you can feel more instantaneous in your spontaneity and in your, you can bring something different every time, because you don't have to think about it, because that muscle is always kind of like flexed and ready to pounce,
Right. Yeah. And there's also those bands that, for whatever reason, I don't know, but there's been a bunch of them that just can't ever figure out how to get a proper album recording of their stuff. And they sound so much better live than ever on an album and stuff. And like, there's just some certain magic that happens when they're doing it live and stuff. So
it's hard to capture. I mean, we find that here ourselves with pretty much every record we've done. Like, how can we capture? That's part of why we did Spark recording live, just to kind of have that raw feel. But I feel like even every record we're evolving, and every time we play a show we're evolving, and
it's constantly being tweaked, everything.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I'm excited to hear what's next, and here's some brand new tunes. Hopefully by the time we'll have a new record by the time you guys are able to come back out here and play and stuff, and all this stuff's cleaned up, and hopefully so. But so anyway, get involved again on the social media and YouTube, and get plugged in for keep more updates of when that's going to happen. But I've been having fun asking some of these random questions on the show, and just see what answers we get. And so if you guys can both answer individually or as a band or however you feel, but This so what's a song that always gets stuck in your head?
Typically the last song that I've heard or that we play, I like a song that we do, or like just in general.
In general.
Yeah. I wake up with like all kinds of just random things stuck in my head sometimes. Like it'll sometimes it's not even anything I've like even listened to in a while. It's just like, well, how did that get there? Like why? What triggered that?
Well, the other day I woke up with The Long and Winding Road in my head, and I haven't listened to that album in quite a while, but it was just kind of like, that's what I woke up. Maybe it was in my dream, or maybe it was like,
right,
a message, but I don't know.
I don't really get songs stuck in my head. It's, because I'm kind of always hearing something.
Right.
So there's
always some song.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily always the same song.
Or a lot of times it hasn't been written yet. So
there you go. So if when the day comes, so they create the Dirty Rain Revelers biopic, who would you like to cast as in your roles?
Gosh. I'd never thought of that. Reese Witherspoon comes to mind for me.
Yeah.
I don't have blue eyes, but in the movies you can have whatever color eyes you can be. I think she's just an adorable person, and I really enjoyed her in Walk the Line.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say she did a great job in there. So
she really did.
Yeah.
For you, probably like Matthew McConaughey.
There you go.
I don't know. Reese Witherspoon and Matthew McConaughey would be a cute couple, I think.
Yeah, I've watched that movie.
Me too.
Yep. That'd be fun. What's your strangest fear?
I have some excessive fear around riding around in the car, even though that's what we do, like,
a lot of time.
50% of our life.
That's not very strange, though. A lot of people are uncomfortable. And you should be uncomfortable driving around these days. People drive nuts. So.
Right. Yeah.
But,
you might be able to answer that for me better. Just being an outside observer.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, you have like the water thing.
Yeah, we both have kind of a weird fear of the water, but I think for him it's more pronounced than for me. Because
I keep a towel in the shower so I can keep my head dry. Like I'm super freaked out by water. I love being on water in a boat. I love being by the water, like by the sea, or walking along the levee and along the river, but I don't want to be in it.
Yeah.
And I don't want to be in wet,
Sure. Well, yeah, I mean, I don't think anything strange about that either. I think there's a lot of people like that just, especially like being in it, like the ocean. I just went to the ocean, and it's like, yeah, we went out there, but it's like at the same time, you're like, you also don't know what's out there. So it's like,
exactly.
It could take you away very easily.
Oh yeah, for sure. So yeah, there's a lot.
Swim.
Yeah. You what's a dream duet or collaboration you'd like to see for the band?
Oh man.
Ooh, how much time do we have?
Yeah.
Lord.
Well, we have a few.
Actually, I was just thinking one of the other day.
Okay.
Bill Frisell with Nico Case. Imagine if they did something together.
Yeah. Well, I was thinking more for you guys. Who you would like to?
For us.
Yeah,
well, those two and us.
Yeah, right. There you go.
Too.
That would totally work. Yeah, those two plus us. we would freaking love to work with TTB, Tedeschi Trucks Band.
Oh yeah.
Oh man, yeah.
You know, in whatever capacity that they would agree to work with us.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're huge
fans of theirs.
Well, and actually, you mentioned Devin
Mm-hmm.
and Dwayne, like those guys. Like we're both pretty heavily influenced by like the Allman Brothers, and you know, we come from very different backgrounds, but we vibe with like this, like our roots, you know, go back to the same place musically,
right?
For both of us. So,
well, I was going to say it. I was going to say, listening to Spark, I kind of forget what the track was, but there was one in particular, like I kind of got like a Allman Brothers vibe to some of the guitar playing.
That's your own cloud, probably.
Yeah.
It's like a 1/4 kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I just kind of do a lot of that sort of almost like Dickie Betsy kind of like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like, I'm not like, I don't know anything. I mean, I'm a fan, but I don't know any like the technical side of guitar playing or anything. But like, I'm pretty good ear for it though. Like I can hear things and I'm like, oh, that sounds like this song or whatever, or, you know, different, whatever it is where I can kind of, so I couldn't tell you what it is about that, but like I can, if I'll hear similarities like and stuff. So I should probably like, you know, learn something, but I
mean, the main thing is you do hear, you can hear like those, there are certain sort of pinpoints like B.B. King's vibrato, you know, Eric Clapton's bend, Eric Johnson's pentatonic, you know, Dwayne Allman's slide up to and around a note, or for that matter,
Derek Trucks.
I'm like
Derek Trucks, like
his vibrato, you know, which
his
is
tone, his way, you can spot like.
Yeah, these are elements that everybody has in their performance and their playing and what they do, whether it's vocally, it's not just on the guitar, but it's vocally as well. That, you know, if your ear is picking that out, you know, especially if you hear me do something, because my playing's all over the map. And then, you know, and it's not even half the time on a map. So if your ear is developed enough where you can hear anything like that, that's like, you don't even need to know what it is. But if you're, you know what I mean? It's like you have a discerning enough sort of sonic palette to be able to pinpoint, like, I recognize that. I feel like I know where that comes from. I don't know why, but it's there. You know what I mean?
I feel like I have a pretty good sense of that, some of that stuff, like just kind of listening to somebody's record and kind of picking, you know, out some of their influences and stuff. Like, so even before you said that, I was kind of tapping into that Allman Brothers thing. And so it's just kind of fun for me a little bit, a little game I kind of play for myself. But but yeah, anyway, it sounds good. I was going to ask also, do either of you do any celebrity impressions?
All right. She mentioned McConaughey. That's about all.
Not that I'm aware of. I periodically have like random voices and accents that crop up, but half the time that's just my Texas family accent coming out.
Was that funny? Do I amuse you?
Yeah, I feel like I can. I get it. I do a lot of like weird voices, but a lot of the times, like I can just like, I feel like I can mimic and stuff. Like I can, if I hear it on the radio or a movie or whatever, I feel like I can do a pretty decent job of like mimicking that voice. But as far as like staying in that voice to do an impression and things, like it's difficult.
You ever tried Christopher Walken?
Yeah, I mean, I think everybody's done a Christopher Walken, and
he's really hard to do. Like, if you're gonna like do like De Niro, most people can like kind of do a caricature of De Niro,
right?
Even Pesci, or a lot of people, but Christopher Walken, he's such a unique sort of delivery, and everything about him is so unique in very subtle ways. That's a really spot on. To find somebody that can do a great Christopher Walken is really hard.
Yeah. Yeah. That's why I appreciate all those guys and girls on SNL that do, they're able to do all that and stuff and get into those characters and stuff. And
Yeah.
obviously some are better than others, but it's just like, it's definitely a lot of work to, I think, even as like you were kind of talking about the guitar playing and stuff, like there's similar things like that people do with their voices and different, where they use inflections and different things. And so it's the same kind of thing applied to somebody's voice and the way they speak and stuff. They're different, their cadences and everything else. And
yeah.
So, but yeah, it's, so here's a fun one. This is, if you were able to front the band, and this would be any band of your choice, and they chose you, pull you up on stage to sing one song with the band, what's the band and what's the song? And this is, this is obviously a hypothetical, being that you know all the words and everything else, and living or past bands and stuff. So, but either of you have a particular band and song you'd like to sing?
Probably.
Oh, I'm sure there's. I don't know. I kind of think of like, I would almost have to break that up into genre in a way, like, for me, it would be like, if I could play with Muddy Waters or BB, or even like Elvis and Scotty Moore, like from like that period of Elvis, or Little Richard, or God, any of those cats.
Sure. Oh,
And then moving forward, like the Allman Brothers, and
yeah.
And then, so I'd almost have to do that, and then break it into like, like I would love to play with Bill Frisell. I mean, there's all kinds of people,
Sure.
Yeah. That's a tough one.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah. You said Little Richard, and like R.I.P. for sure. Just passed recently, and but I did like a deep dive on his stuff after he passed, and I hadn't listened to that stuff in a while. Just get busy with listening to a lot of local music mostly, and but like that some of those recordings, and I'm like, this stuff's incredible, and to think that it was like recorded in like what 55 or something like
yeah, a lot of that was recorded down on the edge of the French Quarter, Cosimo's studio, basically in a storeroom in the back of I don't know if it was a drugstore or Cosimo's dad owned a space and like an office space on Rampart Street, and let him use that room for recording.
Yeah.
Richard, Fats Domino. I mean, the list goes on. It's in. And that stuff holds up, and those recordings hold up, and the whole vibe and feel and just the energy that those cats brought to, a recording microphone is incredible,
Yeah, well, that's awesome. I mean, those some of those songs are like just as good today as they were then. It's just like, it's incredible how that music holds up, that rock and roll and everything, and like, and it's just, yeah. It felt good to listen to some of those again.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What about you, Melissa? Do you think of a band and song?
Yeah.
PJ Harvey.
Maybe not PJ Harvey so much. But like, again, Tedeschi Trucks Band has kind of covered so many musical spaces. And
yeah, if we could have like a day to hang out and play with those guys.
Yeah.
Not to be
sing
like
some Dylan tunes.
Yeah, not to be all super fanned out and stuff, but we can't really help it. But they're an interesting band because, they cover, I was talking about having to break it up into genre. I could pretty much fulfill every genre of that question with that band.
Right.
In different ways, because and we've watched them develop since 2010 when they did their Crossroads with Eric Clapton performance before they were the Tedeschi Trucks Band.
Right.
And so we've kind of been, we were hooked on that performance really. And then I've stuck with them and seen them a number of times over the years, and really have seen them develop in so many ways as an ensemble and as songwriters and compositionally and melodically and harmonically, and just the way they bring so much into their 1 3-hour performance, and they cover a lot of ground.
Yeah,
we could pretty much cover all the genres we would want
Sure.
to do to answer that question with that band,
right.
I would reckon.
And do it
from
Dylan and Allman Brothers and John Prine and
Sam Cooke.
Yeah, Eric Clapton,
Chick Corea. I mean, we could cover a lot of ground in that band.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe one day with him. One day. You heard Susan, you heard Derek.
Yeah.
One day, that's all we ask.
I'll make some calls for you guys. I'll see what
we don't smoke no drugs. We don't drink.
Yeah. I think like in a similar vein too, like a Jason Isbell and Amanda Shire is like I feel like they're kind of right in that same kind of vein. They can do some real straight up country stuff to rock and roll and everything too. So like they a band that covers a lot of ground too. So
absolutely,
and they're a ton of fun to watch them live, and especially as a couple and stuff, watching them the play off of each other, and so yeah, big fan of them too also.
Us too.
Yeah.
We saw Isbell at the Joy Theater here in New Orleans. It was a Saturday night show, and I think that was our first time seeing him, and we were just so blown away, and we could barely afford those tickets, but we immediately, like when that show finished, bought tickets for the next night.
Well, and we ended up, so like that Saturday night show was sold out, but the next night was not. And so the Saturday night, we weren't like right up front, and we were a little uncomfortable.
Yeah, it was packed. The joint was packed.
And so we went the next night and got up there super early, ended up meeting the keyboard player, Derry, while we were waiting. Ended up meeting this couple that lives in Florida that we're now like
we've been friends with ever since.
Really close friends with ever since, and stay in touch with them. And but yeah, so we got right up front for that second night.
So we like to be up front where we can get like the stage sound versus just the house sound.
Yeah.
Like I want to hear the amps cooking, on stage. I don't want to hear them through a PA. I want that shit in my face.
You want to feel the sound coming at you.
Sure. I like a little bit of all of it. Like I tend to, especially when maybe not in a room like that where it's packed, but like when a room I got some space to move, I like to like kind of hear it in different areas. So I'll bounce around the room sometimes and just to see what the different spots, because all that kind of bounces off of different spots and everything else. So it's try to find the sweet spot.
Yeah.
But yeah, but typically I'm with you. I'm right up front. Like I like being right up in the action and.
Love live music.
Yeah.
But in terms of another collaboration, not necessarily with a band, but like with T-Bone Burnett, and have work with him and have him kind of come up with a cross section of songs.
Yeah.
And have him kind of produce it and kind of like he did with Raising Sand with Robert Plant and Alison Krauss, or with what was the Lost Basement tapes that he did with Rhiannon Giddens and Marcus Mumford and Jim James. Did you hear that album?
I don't think I know that one. No, I'll have to check that out.
Phenomenal. It's a bunch of songs that Dylan had that were unfinished, and they were given to T-Bone Burnett to kind of do something with. And he was like, okay, I'm going to get this selection of musicians and kind of
Let
put it
them
all-
finish the songs, you know?
Yeah. And then just record it all and all together. And it's really good.
And they even did like, you know, alternate
Versions.
like a couple different versions of a couple of the songs, you know, which we do all the time, you know.
Yeah.
When we're recording, we'll do a few different ways, you know, and that happens over time as well with each song, like we were saying earlier. So it's always kind of interesting to hear.
Well, I think like you guys were saying, you do a lot of this in home and, you know, by yourselves. And I do find, I think that might be interesting to hear what, you know, like a T-Bone or what, you know, just having some sort of producer in that chair to help kind of push you to, you know, hey, maybe try this sound or this or whatever. And like, because I feel like, yeah,
T-Bone Burnett,
Daniel
Lenoir,
Rick Rubin,
Joe Henry.
Sure.
You know, there's a number of producers that we would love to do that with.
Right. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I just think that would be fun to hear what they could do with the sound and stuff, and what they would be able to help get out of you guys and stuff. So, but yeah, maybe one of these days we'll make all this happen. Yeah. So,
all right.
Yeah.
So what is said?
Yeah. Right. That's I believe in putting it out there in the universe, see what happens, you know. So
yeah,
you're right.
But yeah. Well, guys, this has been a ton of fun. I'm really glad we got to spend the afternoon hanging out.
We sure do look forward to getting up there, and if not this year, then definitely next year. We're hoping to just kind of rebook a lot of those gigs that we had for 2021. And go. We'll be in our van life, Doris.
Yeah.
By that point, we already have a name for her because, you know, gotta give it a name so it starts to take shape.
Yeah, she knows how to find us.
Yeah. Well, I'm excited, and like I said, I'm really glad we've been able to meet virtually, but hopefully we can get the real deal next time here in St. Louis, or maybe I'll come down to New Orleans and hang out.
Yeah.
So
definitely, man. Definitely.
Yeah. But thank you all so much for taking some time to hang with me, and
thank you so much.
Hopefully I'll see you soon.
Yes,
all right,
indeed.
thank you.
All right. Bye, everyone.
Bye.